Imagine stepping into the heart of a medieval castle on a winter night. Stone walls sweating with cold, corridors so frigid your breath hangs like fog. And then you push open one door and feel it, a wave of heat so intense it feels alive, roaring, crackling, almost breathing back at you. This was the kitchen, the warmest room in the entire fortress, a place that could save lives in the dead of winter and end them just as easily. Here's the paradox that hooks us. The very room designed to nourish a castle, to keep its people alive, was statistically one of the most dangerous places to stand. Fires raged day and night, ceilings vanished into smoke, and a single mistake could bring down an entire stronghold. Kings trusted their lives to what came out of this room, servants risked their lives just being inside it. And everyone knew the unspoken truth. You came here for warmth, but you might not leave. So why was the kitchen both a sanctuary and a death trap? And how did medieval people accept that risk as part of everyday life? To understand why medieval kitchens became so extreme, you have to picture castle life as it really was, not the clean fantasy we imagine today. Castles were built for defence, not comfort, with narrow windows, thick walls, and freezing interiors that trapped cold like a prison. The kitchen wasn't just a place to cook. It was an industrial engine feeding hundreds of mouths, soldiers, servants, nobles, sometimes entire towns during sieges. Fires burned constantly, not just for meals, but for baking bread, boiling water, rendering fat, brewing ale, and preserving meat. Kitchens were often separated from the main keep because everyone knew fire was the castle's greatest enemy. Yet they were still connected by corridors that funneled heat inward. In winter, people gravitated toward these spaces like moths to a flame, sharing warmth stolen from massive hearths big enough to roast whole animals. But this concentration of fire, smoke and human traffic created a perfect storm. One spark could leap to wooden beams, one pot could tip, one cook could faint from heat or smoke, and suddenly the most vital room in the castle became a weapon against itself. Now imagine the kitchen in motion, because this wasn't a quiet place. It was controlled chaos. You'd walk in and see multiple open hearths lining the walls, fires built directly on stone floors, no switches, no valves, no easy way to shut anything down. Cooks managed heat by instinct, shifting logs, adjusting spits, raising or lowering iron cranes over the flames, all while smoke rolled upward into chimneys that barely worked by modern standards. Grease-coated surfaces, turning walls into tinder over time, and water had to be hauled by hand in case of emergency. Ventilation was guesswork. Too much airflow fed the flames, too little choked the room with smoke. And then there were the people, dozens moving fast in tight quarters, carrying boiling liquids, swinging heavy iron tools, slipping on wet stone floors. Burns, collapses, smoke inhalation and structural fires weren't rare accidents, they were expected risks. Medieval ingenuity kept these kitchens running through sheer experience and adaptation, but safety as we know it simply didn't exist. The warmth that seeped into nearby rooms was a byproduct of constant danger, heat bleeding through stone that was never meant to hold it safely. Here's where the story turns unexpectedly modern, because medieval kitchens weren't just reckless. They were efficient in ways we're only now rediscovering. Centralized heat sources, thermal mass from stone, and constant low-level fires created a primitive form of radiant heating that kept parts of the castle livable without fuel-hungry stoves in every room. Today, architects study similar principles in passive heating systems, using thick materials to store and release warmth gradually. The danger came from lack of control, not from the idea itself. Medieval builders understood heat flow intuitively, even if they paid for it with risk. There's a survival lesson here, too. Warmth can be life-saving, but unmanaged energy, whether fire, electricity, or even technology, always carries hidden costs. The kitchen reminds us that efficiency without safeguards can turn essential systems into silent threats, something that echoes in modern homes, power grids, and even digital spaces. In the end, medieval kitchens tell a story larger than stone walls and open flames. They were the beating heart of the castle, radiating warmth, sustenance, and life outward, while quietly threatening to destroy everything if they slipped out of control. The people who worked there lived with constant risk, not because they were careless, but because survival demanded it. Today, we heat our homes with hidden systems, shielded from flame and smoke, and it's easy to forget how dangerous warmth once was. Yet the lesson still burns beneath the surface. Comfort is never free, and the systems that sustain us deserve respect. So, the next time you feel heat on a cold day, remember the medieval kitchen, where warmth was earned through fire, danger, and ingenuity. And if stories like this make you see history differently, that's your invitation to keep exploring, keep questioning, and maybe stick around for the next hidden truth waiting to be uncovered.